Smart lock may be the first device you should want as part of a smart home. And I'm installing a new one today, and I'm going to show it to you and show you how it installs and what it will do. So I've already got my door ready here. The deadbolt is open. Here is the lock I'm installing. So this is the Thorbolt X1. And what I really like about this one is it works with Apple Home, so HomeKit. And it's going to work as a device over Thread. Of course, I have to have a home hub that works with Apple, which I do, but you'll need that for its full functionality. But this is the front and the back of the lock that I'm going to install. I'll show you what comes in the box, how it installs, and then we're going to test it out. So I've been seeking a smart lock for some time that will work both with Apple HomeKit and with a biometric open function, such as a fingerprint, face scan, palm scan. And so I think I've found what I'm looking for with this Thorbolt X1 smart lock that works with Apple HomeKit. And I'm going to explain to you why, but I think you're going to like this lock. It's already won just by being called Thorbolt. You know, people name things like XMQ42. Please, Thorbolt, that's a lock. So for me, a lock has to function better than average in terms of smart home devices. There's no wiggle room for it to not work. And so a lock has to open not only every time I come to use it, but it needs to open quickly because we don't have the patience to sit around and wait or figure out what needs to happen. And so with a smart lock and a family, a home of 7 people, everybody in the home needs to be able to get in without any problems. And not everybody in our home has an iPhone or an Apple Watch. And so the fingerprint option needs to work really well, and other options for opening and closing need to work really well. And I'll show you a little bit later in the video how this lock functioned for us in terms of its daily use and getting in and out. So we've been using it now for about a week, and that may not sound like a long time, but we are very active. And so the lock has been opened about 80 to 100 times a day. Yes, 80 to 100 times a day. And that adds up over the course of a week. So I have a good experience now to tell you a lot about the lock. A lock also needs to have good battery life, especially in a busy home. We all want it to last a long time. So I'll also deal with that with this lock. It actually uses AA batteries. It's not a rechargeable. So that needs to last for a good long time. Now I can't report yet on that, but I will give you some ideas about where I think it's going to go. So let's look at what's in the box and how it installs. So to start with, opening the box, it's a nice looking device. It's a nice looking box. I think it's very presentable. A lot of things that I get, they don't come in a box that really makes me want to open it. But this box hits it, and then the way it's packaged, this is a nice looking, it's very convincing as a device to go on your door. Now, if you've never had an automatic opening lock before, this may look large to you. I've been using locks with codes for about 18 years now. I don't like to use a key. And so the size on the inside and the outside is not a big deal to me. So this is pretty normal. Transitioned to smart locks. So I was using locks that open with the keypad way before a smart lock was invented. And we didn't like to have a key and carry it around. We like to be able to go for a walk or whatever without needing to take a key with us without worrying about it. And it's also easier to lock your door if you can just go out and push a button. Or with a lot of the locks now, they will lock automatically if you're into that. And so I think I like it. So once you've unboxed this, you'll need a couple of tools, screwdrivers to get it installed. And if you're removing an old lock, you'll kind of see how it fits into the space. Now, if you do not have a physical hole drilled in your door, then we are talking about a whole different project. And maybe I'll do a video on that sometime, but not today. But anyway, if you're just changing out a lock, this is going to install pretty quickly. And so I'm on the timer here, and I'll show you from start to finish. It ends up taking me only about 20 minutes to put it together. I think 15 if I was in a hurry. I was going pretty slow and no rush at all. So I think you can do this in 15 minutes or less if you are trying to be quick. Now, to set it up with your phone and to work with Apple HomeKit, you will need some sort of Apple hub. And so those can be your Apple TV, it can be an Apple smart speaker, or for me, it's just the Home Hub Mini that I use to work with this. And so that's what creates the communication for this to work. The lock will work without that, but you won't be able to use it with your other Apple devices or an Apple HomeKit unless you have a home hub with Apple. So you will need 8 AA batteries. Yes, I said 8. And that's more batteries than I've put in anything in a long time. But if it will last a year, I think it will be okay. So if batteries are $1 each, that's $8 you're adding to the price, and then you're going to need to replace those at some point. So I will report on the battery life as we go, and it has a battery indicator, but that's not going to tell me anything quite yet. All I can say is it's still saying it's at 100%, so a week into this. So my installation, I had no issues really. It was easy. I didn't lose anything, didn't lose any screws. It actually came with a couple of extra screws, I think. No, it came with extra screws, which is also always nice. I mean, screws are cheap. Why not include a couple extras in your packaging in case guys like me lose one when I'm setting it up? So that worked with no problem. There is a template included, so you may want to check your door size in terms of both its thickness and the way that the hole is centered for your lock. And that's important for a lock to fit on your door. Given that I have Apple HomeKit installed, and that it works with Apple HomeKit, it installed very easily. The native app for this is, it's a pretty basic app. So, and you'll need to use it you'll really only need to use it setting up to get your codes and fingerprints put into the lock. And then the lock's going to work with those. And so this lock, it says that it's local storage. So your information, your fingerprints are not going to be out there available for someone else to scam you. The lock itself is going to store those and operate this way. It took us a couple of days actually for me to rotate everybody in my family through and make sure everybody had their fingerprints in. And in terms of where ours was set up, the thumbprint was actually the easiest. And I went ahead and put in both of mine just to whichever hand was free to do that. Obviously, it also works with the Apple in the Apple ecosphere. So I'm going to show you again how quickly it worked in just a second. But that was part of the setup for this. Also, I had to enter a new code for every user. That's fine. Codes we basically use the same code to get in and out. If you wanted different codes though, that would also be part of telling you who came in. And so I'm not that interested in that. And we're basically not going to use the code except as a backup. It does have a physical keyhole, and I think that's important. You want to be able to open your door with a key, and I usually keep a key somewhere on site as a backup plan, just in case. All right, so let's talk about the actual use of the lock and how well it functioned day in and day out over the past week for us coming and going. And again, it's only been a week, but I like this lock. We're going to keep it. We're going to continue to use it. So everybody is pretty pleased with it, and it has functioned well. I would like for a lock to work 100% of the time, and as far as I'm concerned, this one has. So the only reasons it hasn't, I think, have been user error. So I put my thumb on there too quickly and taken it off. How quickly does it work? Well, I was super impressed with using my thumb, using my phone, using my watch to open this, because I had to do this in slow motion just to see how this was working. Because it was so fast, I couldn't even really run a timer. Definitely under 1 second, both for the fingerprint and for the reading of the devices that you put up to the phone. So I think that's been great. That's super good, that's super fast. And it worked smoothly. It opened quickly, I didn't have any problems. So sometimes the door doesn't close well, especially, all of our houses are different and doors get kind of crooked over time, and sometimes the lock doesn't strike well. And so I've done another video on that in terms of you may not be able to use a motorized lock. And I've had to, in the past, adjust mine to make sure that the deadbolt would fit into the strike plate. And so the reason I've had to do that is because the door is a little bit out of line. It doesn't close as well as it ought to. And just getting all those things perfect, along with weather sealing and other things, it can take some trial and error. But now mine works as long as the door is closed all the way. If it's not closed, if someone kind of pushes it up and it doesn't quite close, then we can get a problem with the lock. However, I can also get a report on that. I can get the notification on my phone that tells me that the door did not lock. And so I think that's even better than the physical lock we used to have, which if you didn't get it in there, you might not notice. You might not notice that you didn't lock it all the way. Those night prowlers who come around checking people's doors just might have gotten in because of human error. Okay, so in addition to working well for me, the lock worked well for everyone. Everyone's been able to come and go easily. Fingerprints are the preferred method. It's just easier. You can use your watch and hold it up to it, or your phone. You can also open it in the house by speaking to Siri and asking Siri to do this for you. Hey Siri, unlock the door. That's also a pretty nice function. If you're really lazy like me and someone's coming to the door that you want to let in, you could just stay in your seat and ask Siri to open it. You can also open it through HomeKit, and this is where something in HomeKit is much easier to use than something in its own app. Part of being a smart home is not having 50 different smart home apps on your phone that you have to open to do something. Having those in one place really is what makes your smart home work efficiently. And so the fewer of those that you can use, the better. So in this case, opening Apple HomeKit to do something with a lock is a whole lot easier than just about any other native app for anything that I know of. It comes up, it's on the home screen, you just punch it unlock, you punch it lock, if you even want to do that. So again, the lock will auto lock. You can lock it by your voice with Siri command. You can do this through the app if you need to. Let's say you're somewhere away from the house and your friend came over to borrow your a cup of milk, and so you want to unlock the door for them. Well, you can unlock it through the app. You can be on the phone with them and tell them, okay, it's unlocked, and they come in, and then they leave, and it locks back automatically. You can also give your friend a passcode to get in. You could give them a passcode that works every day. You could give them a passcode that only works certain hours, or you could give them a one-time password that they could get in that day, and then it's gone. So all those are great functions. Most smart locks are going to have that, but this one does, and it works well. There's so many different functions with a smart lock that give you the options that you don't have otherwise. But it has to be easy. If it's not easy, we're not going to do it. And so that's the smart lock, the smart home in general. If things are hard, we don't want it. If things are easy, then we'll actually use it. And that's been my experience with this lock this week. It's easy and it works every time. That's why we're going to keep using it. That's why my family is happy with it. And that's why I can recommend it as I sit here and talk to you. Install a lock. It's something that you want to look nice. And I think this one looks nice. It comes in different options as well. Mine is the black option. You can get a gold, a space gray, or a silver to match whatever type of decor you're trying to do. It's fairly sleek in terms of smart locks, and I've seen some that are bigger, clunkier. Obviously smaller is better, but we're not there yet. And a lock that needs 8 batteries put in it can't be too little. So with this one, the batteries are there and the size is there, the inside compartment, but it's pretty average size. There are things smaller, certainly, and there are things that are bigger. How long will these batteries last? Well, because this lock connects by thread instead of pure Wi-Fi, the battery should last longer. You can Google that and figure out what it means. I'm not sure. I know what it means. But thread is not going to wear on your batteries as much as Wi-Fi. And it's a gentler signal that the lock can stay connected, so it's not asleep when you come to use it. It's ready to go, and it's going to work. It works over thread, and I'm hoping that means we can get a very long life out of the batteries. What I mean by long life, I'll be happy with 9 months. So it advertises a year, but we're heavy users. I hope to get to 9 months. Put it on your calendar and check back with me on March the 26th and see if we got 9 months out of this. So finally, I'm going to link to this lock below. You can check out its price and other specs at Amazon. So Thorbolt did send me the lock and to test out and to report back to you. However, this is my opinion. I am not persuaded. I'm not being paid to endorse the lock, just to try it out, and I'm not being paid. The lock itself, I like it. I can recommend it at the end of this video, and as long as something doesn't change over time, we're going to keep using this lock on our door. In terms of setting it up, if you're an Apple user, I think this might be the best option for you, really. In terms of price and function and features. It's a good lock, so check it out. Hope this video was helpful today. Thanks for watching.